Welcome to our New York Giants Preservation Society meeting for tonight, September 25th, 2025, with famed artist Thom Ross. We'll get to Thom in a couple of minutes. Just want to go over some other things with you, ladies and gentlemen. Next week is a holiday, so we are going to have our Zoom on Tuesday. And the Zoom is going to be with a woman named Megan Hahn. Many of you never heard of her. That is Bobby Thompson's daughter.
Oh,
And the reason I'm having her on is because October 3rd is going to be the following week, and I thought it'd be appropriate. So Megan's going to tell us about growing up as Bobby Thompson's daughter. And Thom is going to be speaking today about Willie Mays and the catch, and on Monday, we will celebrate the 71st anniversary of the catch at the Polo Grounds, and will also be the 68th anniversary of the final game played by the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds. When this meeting concludes, usually we have our post-game show. If you want to hang around a little bit, when we shut down the machine and the recording, Norm wants to talk to the group about some of the things at the Polo Grounds that, you guys are always fighting about where this is, where that is. So Norm will clear all that up. But for now, I'd like to welcome Thom Ross, and Thom has a lot of buddies here tonight. So all of Thom's buddies, welcome. If you like what you see, feel free to email me. And if you want to come on our waiting list, you are not waiting list, address book, you are more than welcome to do so. So I am going to introduce Thom. Thom's going to tell us a little bit about himself. And then when we get to the Willie Mays part where his affinity for Mays starts, I'm going to share the screen with some photos that Thom provided me with. So until that time, let's all welcome Thom Ross. Thom, thank you so much for joining us from New Mexico, and the floor is yours.
You're welcome. As you can see, I am from the Bay Area. I grew up in Sausalito. That's how I met most of my buddies that are going to be on here tonight. And of course, I was watching Willie Mays probably early 60s, until I moved away. But I remember the 62 World Series when McCovey hit the line drive to Richardson, and none of us knew what happened because it was a day game and we're still in school. So that was about when my first baseball interest started to peak. And I moved to Wyoming and met a good friend who was a Cardinal fan. And that's I think when I really got the idea of the true meaning, the history of the game, and that was I've been doing there's my friend Mikey. He's the guy that helped me do the cutouts of Mays and Dirty Harry, our first one. So baseball's just been one of the themes that I've found meaning with the Wild West, the OK Corral, the Alamo, that sort of stuff. Spartacus, historical figures that reach a mythic status has been kind of my focus.
Do you want to tell us what these so-called installations are all about?
Well, the first one I did was with my buddy Mikey, who's on here now. We did a plywood cutout of Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry.
At the end of the movie, he jumps off a train trestle onto the school bus where the killer is. And that train trestle was right below where we lived. So we got up one morning and took the plywood cutout and nailed it to the train trestle. And we thought we were going to be arrested. And a highway patrolman came on his motorcycle and he just gave us the OK sign. And that was the first one. And I just started getting into the idea of by doing installations with plywood figures, then you incorporate the natural landscape, whether it's the train trestle for Dirty Harry, whether it's the hillside in Montana at the Little Bighorn battlefield, and you put the figures up on there. And it gives you a different perspective of the landscape. It's not painted. This is the real landscape where these things happen. So in 2004, we took the 5 plywood cutouts of Willie, and we flew them to New York and rented a van, and 5 of us drove up to Harlem looking for where the polo grounds would have been.
All right, why don't I get that up for you?
Sure.
Here we go. So before we do that, Thom, why don't you tell us what this screen means to you? Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Does everybody see that?
No.
You guys don't
What are
see
we
that?
looking at?
No.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, we're just seeing thumbnails.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
You're seeing thumbnails?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, small ones, very
Okay,
small.
hold on
Yeah.
a second. Stop sharing. Let's try this again. Okay, let's try this.
Same thing.
So, thumbnails again.
I know, I want to open them up.
Oh, good.
How's that?
There we
That's
go.
good.
Good.
All
That's
right.
good.
If That's good.
Well,
You can expand it on
this
right.
All right, Thom, all yours.
this is my father's copy of A Day in the Bleachers. I have it right here. You can see my dad was given it or bought it in October 1st of 55, just a year after Mays made the catch. And those are some baseball cards, of course, of Willie and Vic Wertz. And in the top left, that's me as a young man, and I'm talking to Arnold Haino. He was the guy, of course, who wrote Day in the Bleachers, and he is the only man I've ever met who actually was at the ballpark and saw the catch. And so we had a long talk talking about that. But it was my dad's interest, of course, in the Giants, the San Francisco Giants. And due to lineage, you pick up the New York Giants. So Bobby Thompson means something. Christy Mathewson means something. John McGraw means something. And so this is when the Giants moved to San Francisco, they bring that history with them. And so that's how I picked up on it.
All right. So here is your installation
Oh,
at
wow.
the site of the Polo Grounds. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, this we found this little fenced-in area with the lawn. This was the first time we put Willie up. If the Polo Grounds were there, he would have been in right field. The catch was made to the far left figure. The catch was made actually beyond him, and home plate would have been off to the left. And you can see the ball coming into Willie's mitt. That's a styrofoam ball held aloft by a black dowel that you can't see. And of course, these are the famous figures where he makes the turn.
Oh.
His hat flies off, and he throws the ball back into the infield. But that's where the old Polo Grounds once stood.
I believe this is the back of PS 46. Steve, do you agree with that, Steve Rothschild? Maybe it's not here, but I'm pretty sure that's the school that is on the street over there. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Polo
I
Grounds.
agree. Because that's the school he was at
Yes,
first time with the trophies where he gave the kids the balls or the money or whatever.
right. So Thom, how did you make these? I mean, these are incredible.
Well,
How did you make them, and how did they let you put these there?
we do a lot of guerrilla art. You find photographs. There's a lot of still photographs of Mays making the catch, and I can photograph those using a macro lens onto a slide. Then the slide goes in the slide projector, and you project the image onto the plywood. You could make it, you could make it 2 feet tall or 10 feet tall. So these guys are, if Mays was what, 5'11", these are about 6'3". And then you just trace it out, you cut it out with your jigsaw, sand it down, paint it up, and away you go.
Unreal.
So it's yeah.
Are these one-sided figures or two-sided figures?
Yeah. The backside of them would have a hardware to hold a stake or some way to mount them into the ground.
Got it. All right. So let us So here is the Polo Ground Tower. So this is where Thom started putting the first time he did this. Let me admit this person. And so Thom, here is this blue line. You sent me I had these pictures, but you sent me these blue lines. So here is where the home plate plaque was. Talk about what the line is signifying here.
Well, we got there, and there were two old guys, and we were carrying around these Willie Mays plywoods, and so they want to know what we were doing. We told them, and they're the ones that said there's a plaque over on that building that designates where home plate was. So this is exactly what we needed. We went over there, and there was the plaque. Now this is 21 years ago. So now we knew where home plate was. We turned around, and we were looking due east across the Harlem River, and we could see Yankee Stadium. And in those aerial photographs, you could see that the stadiums were just separated by the Harlem River. So we knew that Mays could run from home plate directly towards Yankee Stadium, and there it was. So a friend of mine, he walked off about 465 feet, and we said, all right, we're within, somewhere within this area. Mays had caught the ball, and the date was September 29th, 2004. So it was on the 50th anniversary date that we were there.
Oh, my goodness.
And here is, see, I know Thom wasn't sure, but this in fact is where the plaque is. He wasn't sure if it was that or in this building, but is actually buttressed it right over here.
Yeah. And of course, that's home plate where Ray Chapman was killed, where Bobby Thompson hit his home run. So a lot of stuff happened right there. And there's outside of the plaque, there's nothing there. There's no, there were some black kids running around, and they wanted to see what we were doing. And the ringleader was about 12 years old. And I said, do you know who this is? He goes, that's Willie Mays. I said, yeah. Do you know what he's doing? He's going, yeah, he's making that famous catch. I said, how did you know? He says, because I see it every year during the World Series. I said, do you know where he caught the ball? He said, no. I said, right where you're standing. So he didn't know who that, he had seen Mays make the catch in the Polo Grounds, but he didn't know that the playground where he's playing was where Willie had caught the ball.
Oh. So this is what Thom would have seen in 2004. That's the plaque. And
now
of
that's
course,
the plaque. That's my photograph.
right. And of course,
That's
now
what-
we have this, which I know Renee is, head over heels for. So this is now mounted where if Thom would go back there today, this is what he would see. All right. So Thom, here is again the picture. And here you wound up taking the installations and moving them around the area over there. So I think if you are at the plaque and you walk to the left, maybe 10 feet, I'm pretty sure that's where this area is, unless I'm wrong, Thom.
You can see the circle behind him.
Yes.
And that circle you can see in the overhead. So we moved him there, and you can see the people walking by. And then we moved him out on the street, and that's when all the people started stopping by. And we met a couple guys who that's there. Now we're out on the street. And what was very interesting, the reaction I want as an artist is when these people recognized it, and it brings all that, it brings that great team from 1954. Willie Mays was 21, and their eyes start to light up because they start recalling their youth, the games they would go to at the Polo Grounds, the crowds, and you could see their eyes lighting up, and they would stop me and they would tell me stories about Willie Mays, and it was like a time portal, and so you get that reaction, and that was really that was the reason I did it, and that's probably the most important, is to see these people come back to life, and that was where the ballpark was, and it's gone.
Right. This is the entrance on Frederick Douglass Boulevard, 8th Avenue. And there you see another.
Yeah.
Same. And here's still another shot. And you see the school in the far background.
And that's me on the far right talking to some old guy, and he's telling me about Willie Mays, and that's what you do. It like I said, it was this time portal thing, and they remembered this team when they were young, and the team was young, and Willie Mays was young, and it's all gone.
And Tom, how long were the installations up for? A day, a week, a couple hours?
Yeah, no. We probably had it up, I'm going to say probably early morning till maybe 5 in the afternoon. It was probably up about 8 hours, and we just kept moving it around. And then we moved it to Washington Square. We moved it to Central Park.
Yeah, we have some other pictures of once it left the Polo Grounds, it went to other places in New York. Here's a young man trying to imitate Willie.
Yeah. You see that. This is, because these are the kind of things that, as we get older, when we're forgotten, Mays, of course, will never be forgotten, but the people like us who actually saw him play, it's going to be passed down to our kids. And my dad saw Willie Mays play, and that's a pretty cool thing to be able to say now.
And here is the subway right over here, where I'm doing this circle over here. So,
Gotcha.
and here, like Tom said, it went all across New York City. Tom, why don't you go ahead, take it?
I think it's Times Square. And but there was also a lot of people who walked by. They didn't know who it was. They didn't care. Baseball, it's a dull game. I don't like it. And so we got the sense that we were some sort of religious prophets reading Arnold Hano's book, the chapter where Mays makes the catch, standing on the street corner, reading out of the book like it was the Bible. And some people cared, but they just went on about the business. But
and here is Washington Square Park.
Yeah, and you can see in this, something's going on underneath that arc, but everyone has their back to Willie Mays. He just doesn't, so it was a sad, it's life. But, and these young kids, they have no idea who he is. Sports is so diluted now, at one time there were boxing, horse racing, and baseball, and now there's skateboarding and stingray bike racing and skiing. So the sports market has just been diluted with so many, and and baseball's trying to keep up with it. But if the story isn't told, if you're not here telling the story about Willie Mays, it gets forgotten.
All
yeah,
right.
now there's a piece.
Here is Central Park. Tell us what happened
Yes,
there.
that's Central Park. Yeah. So we just moved him around all day because, of course, the catch, though it took place in center field of the Polo Grounds, Willie's catch permeates American culture. It's one of those moments that I tell people. I was born in '52, so I was born between Bobby Thompson's home run and Edmund Hillary climbing Mount Everest in '53. So now I know where I am in the scope of the history of planet Earth. I was born between Bobby Thompson and Edmund Hillary.
All right, so we then are going to leave New York, and tell us about this, Tom.
This is the first time I did it. This was in Petaluma, just north of San Francisco. We put it up in a field there, and this was, I think, in celebration of Willie's 53rd birthday of just a kid. And this is the first time I did. This would have been in '84. And then my friend Mikey, who's on here with us, I moved to Wyoming, and he brought them out to Wyoming. And we put them up on a hillside in Wyoming underneath the Tetons.
Wow.
And that's the that is East Gravant Butte, Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Unbelievable.
And when I put them up here, there's a road just behind where I'm standing to take the photograph. This car hits the brake. Guy jumps out, the driver's door stays open, and he starts saying, Willie Mays, 1956. I said, 54. That's right. Cleveland Indians? Yeah, I said, that's right. So this guy remembered it. It just...
What do I do with this?
Sid, you got to mute yourself, please.
This is mute. You don't want to mute. If there's a video, you want to start it, you can click the video.
Hold on one second.
And-
If you want to chat, push the chat button.
I can't get back to that screen to mute. Nor,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry, Tom.
So then a friend of mine took that upper photograph. He was a
Click
good
that when you're ready to talk. Otherwise,
and
Otherwise,
He
you quit
submitted it to
reaction.
Excuse me
Sports
one second.
Illustrated.
Tom, give me 1 second. Sid, you need to
Sure.
mute.
Mute.
Mute. Sid, we can't go on unless you mute. Or just don't talk. Either way. Go ahead, Tom.
So, so a friend of mine, he took this photograph and he submitted it to Sports Illustrated, and it came out, I believe it was in the October of '86. And that's, you're getting some art in there, into the magazine, and this was quite a triumph for me.
Did Willie ever get to see your work?
Well, John Shea, John.
John is here tonight.
John,
John, great to see you, John. Welcome aboard.
John sat with Willie Mays. Hey there, shortstop. John sat with Willie Mays every day at Candlestick, and then in the new ball, I guess it's called Oracle Ballpark. So I'm sure John showed Willie photographs of it. Willie never saw them. And John, in his biography of Willie called 24, he actually put one of the photographs that we had taken of Willie in Central Park. So when I have John's book, if friends come over, I go to the index, I go, here's a biography on Willie Mays, and there's my name in the index. And that is it's a spectacular thing.
That's great. All right. And this picture?
Now the first set we took from Marin County to Jackson Hole to Vermont to Cooperstown, where it was bought. The people who bought it lived in Watchung, New Jersey. So I drove it over to them and dropped it off. And while I was there, a neighbor of theirs stopped by named Bobby Thompson. So I met Bobby Thompson, and we had the plywood figures out in the backyard. And I got to spend about an hour and a half talking with Bobby Thompson, which was a great thing. But then when it was time for the 50th anniversary, this is the second set I did. This is the one that we took to New York. And in that top photograph, you can see, okay. So
I'll go back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was just in that top photograph. Okay, that's, if you were behind home plate, that's what Willie Mays would have looked like catching the ball. That's what you would have seen from behind home plate. That's how little he was.
Wow. And this one, Tom?
That's me. That's the same field. That's me in the middle. We've just finished it, and we're getting set to ship it to New York for the 50th anniversary of the catch. So this is in Seattle.
How long did these installations take you to make?
Oh, Willie to do the Willie Mays piece. Oh, probably maybe a week and a half. To do Custer's Last Stand with 200 figures, all of them different, Indians and troopers. That took about a year and a half to do 200.
Wow, this is just unbelievable. The artistry in this. And this, you said, is a miniature picture?
Yeah, yes. And that Huey Lewis is an old friend of ours. Some of my buddies on here know Huey, and I sent one of these to Huey. He's a Willie Mays buff, and he lives on his ranch in Montana. And people who've been there say this piece sits on top of Huey's mantelpiece at his ranch in Montana.
Beautiful. Who's this guy?
I don't know. That's what the paintings in the background. That is, this would have been in 2019 when I did a show on the Black Sox. And behind my head, you can see the 8 men out. On the far left, leaning on his black bat, that'd be Shoeless Joe, with Lefty Williams and Eddie Seacott sitting in the chairs. And so these are just different paintings. There at that lower end, you can see the shooting of Arnold Rothstein. These are, the figures behind me. Okay, go to that next one.
Yep.
So for doing the Black Sox, I also focused on Field of Dreams, and this is the 8 guys in the cornfield. When I was in Chicago doing this, a guy came up to interview me, and he said, there was a lot of historical accuracies in Field of Dreams. And I'm going, well, of course. He said, for one, Shoeless Joe Jackson hit left-handed, and Ray Liotta hit right-handed. Joe Jackson throws right-handed, Ray Liotta throws left-handed. And then I said, yeah, but you have 8 dead men in a cornfield. What are you talking about? Historical reality. So this is what I love about that movie, is the use of those 8 guys and how they become a metaphorical of a whole different thing that really isn't baseball. You know, people think it's a baseball movie, and it's not. It's baseball is the vehicle in which our hero Kevin Costner goes on his journey, and he comes back the new man, and his father, as you know, comes back to life, and he's able to play catch with his father. So it's a great movie in how they use the 8 men in the movie. If you remember, Shoeless Joe could neither read nor write, yet Ray Liotta plays him as almost poetic, you know, the way he talks. So maybe Joe Jackson got a great education beyond the grave. But anyway, that's them. That's Joe Jackson leaning on Black Betsy at the far right, and Eddie Seacott at the far left, and the other guys coming out of the cornfield.
That's great. And here's one of your buddies, you said.
There we go. There's my pal, Bobby Thompson. And Jane Siegel, she was the fan, her and her husband had bought the cutouts of Willie. And I was there with Bobby, and I had the video of him hitting the home run, and I'm standing next to him. And my eyes are going from the video to this guy. It's like if Santa Claus had been there, or Billy the Kid. I'm just going, this guy is out of my mythology. And now I'm standing right next to him. And he was very generous in that he's probably told the story 80 million times. But I had to ask him, tell me about the pitch. And he told me how he topped the ball, and you see him when he's running to first, he gets halfway, and then he leaps up because the ball clears the wall above Andy Pafko's head. So I'm just sitting there, and when he left, Jane asked me, you know, do you want to call someone? I said, yeah, I have to call my dad in San Francisco. And I said, you won't believe it. I just spent the last hour talking to Bobby Thompson.
That's great.
So it's interesting when all this mythic stuff comes. That's me with Bobby Thompson. It's just unbelievable.
Something you'll never forget.
Oh, absolutely.
And there again is your installations. I got a quick question, and then we'll open it up. There is talk. You know, they replaced the plaque at the Polo Grounds. There's talk about possibly making some statues there to Willie. If that would ever happen, would you ever think about possibly bringing this back?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I would love to do it. I wish they would put like that the image, either the second from left image or the far right where he's throwing the ball. I mean, that should be done out of bronze. I mean, they have them at, you know, they have Mays, McCovey, and Marichal at Oracle Park. But where he caught that ball, there should be a monument. I want to go to Candlestick Park and find the spot where Dwight Clark caught Joe Montana's pass to beat the Cowboys. And and there's nothing there. There should be just this statue of Dwight Clark leaping in the air over Emerson Walls. I mean, and say something happened here. This something really important that is not only important in terms of baseball history or football history, but in transitional history. You know, Willie Mays' catch was a great catch, and they swept the Indians. But for me, it is also metaphorical of, I mean, what is the baseball? Is that your dream? And how Willie Mays said, if you want it, you can do it. Go catch your dream. You don't have to be a ball player. You can be an artist like me. You can be a writer. You can be a poet. You can be any of these things. And what Willie Mays reaffirms is you can do the impossible. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite stories is when Mays was coming out of center field when the 8th inning was over. Monty Irvin ran up and said, Willie, that was a great catch. And Willie Mays said, I had it all the way. And so this is the kind of stuff that you have to keep in mind. If Willie can catch that ball, then you can do what you want. So he becomes metaphorical, and he's removed, it's baseball, but it's also the meaning of the catch is a lot more than just the 8th inning of the 1954 World Series.
Wonderful. Thom, let me ask you one last thing before we open it up. A lot of ladies and gentlemen in the group are historians and, you know, think about past great events. Where could they find your studio online? Your website. Your website. Yeah.
you just Google my name, THOMROSS, and when it opens up, just hit images, and you'll see a lot of mostly the Western art, the gunfighters, the OK Corral, but they have photographs in there of the Custer Last Stand installation, which we put on the actual battlefield. The installation I did in San Francisco with Buffalo Bill Cody and 100 of his mounted Lakota warriors. So they're there, and we're right now. I'm opening up we're doing a 3-man show that opens next Friday at the Scottsdale Museum of Western Art on Billy the Kid. Nice. And so these are all these historical characters who, again, they transform their own reality, and in our imagination, they can mean things other than baseball or gunfighters or this kind of stuff. And I just love those kind of people who we make bigger than they really were.
Wonderful. I think this was a wonderful thing to have, again, in honor of 71st anniversary coming up on September 29th. So I'm going to stop the sharing now, and we're going to open it up for questions. And again, Thom, just wonderful. Thank you for inviting all your friends. Thanks, John Shea, showing up as well. Steve Rothschild, you are up.
Yes, this was, another tearjerker. Thanks so much for what you did. There's another saying, and I don't remember which broadcaster said it when Mays would hit a triple. I'm sure it's in John's book. The only guy that could have caught the ball is the guy that hit the ball.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know who that. I don't think it was Russ Hodges, but yeah, no, I'm familiar with that.
Well,
one of my friends
probably knows.
One of my friends who helped me with the cutouts and took them to New York with me. We wanted to do a scene of an astrology class, and the class is outside at night, and there's a shooting star going overhead, and Willie Mays breaks out of the class and goes, "I got it, that's mine," and he takes off after a shooting star.
That's cute. I had a question for you, and I guess the judge who's on tonight, welcome back. Johnny Antonelli, if I recollect, spent 6 months of the year in Rochester and the other 6 months in New Mexico. Did you ever cross paths with him while you were in New Mexico?
No, I've been down here 15 years. I've crossed paths with some of the Hollywood people that come out and film here, but not the athletes.
Judge, am I correct that Johnny Antonelli spent time in New Mexico, right?
I believe he did way more time in Rochester, but
no plugs for Rochester. Thank you very much.
You bet.
And by the way, Thom, again, if any of your friends want to chime in, just tell them to raise their hand, and I will call on them. Mars, you are up.
Thanks, Thom. That was very interesting. My question is, do the San Francisco Giants, have you contacted them about displaying it at Snorkel Park?
Oh, I've thought about it. I could talk to John, but a lot of times you get red tape. They don't. They're worried about insurance or if there's going to be any interest. I mean, it should be up there. I would love to do it. Down here in Albuquerque, we have the Isotopes, and they have a beautiful ballpark. And I've often thought about redoing the Maze again for the third time and talking to them. But it should be done. This is what you want. But the red tape to go through, that can get,
Well, I know what you mean about the red tape, because I think it would be apropos to have that in some place somewhere in center field, because, I've been pushing this thing, Willie Mays Park at Willie Mays Field at Oracle Park for several years now, and it falls on deaf ears. And, here's the greatest Giant of all time. And the World Series trophy, they're not even interested in a hologram. And it would be the last homage, especially now that he's gone, but will forever be with us fans. This would be so apropos to have that one of your sculpture of that in the park, or just like mounted on the right center field wall somewhere, so it wouldn't be in the batter's eye. It would be perfect.
The problem, problem you have is that you have the heart of a poet, and I have the heart of an artist. And businessmen, that's not what they see. They'll pretend to love it, but I can tell the way you guys were talking how much you deeply love the Giants. And I don't know if these businessmen can go that deep, and that's the problem.
You're right. They can't, because I worked a block away from when the park was under construction, and I had a press pass. So I walked right in and I took photographs of all phases. Well, we had Missy Misalecki, who's in charge of that department. But, it seems to, they take an interest, but then you don't know really how they're going to follow up on it. So that's the problem I've been having as a photographer with these 108 images. But I think that you have a future with that.
Oh, I was lucky when I was living in Seattle and they were building that new ballpark for the Mariners. I was one of the artists chosen to do a piece, and I did the famous where Ken Griffey scores from first base when Edgar Martinez hits the double off Blackjack, and the ball players come running out and they're all leaping in the air. And we did that on a steel. That's permanently in the Mariners' new ballpark. One of the figures is Joey Cora, and he's 10 feet tall. He weighs 350 pounds because it's all steel. So it was good. I got that at least in there. But I would love to do, if there's anyone out there that is serious about doing something with Willie Mays and the catch, count me in.
Well, good luck with that, Thom, because it's quite a great piece of work.
Thank you, Morris. Norm Coleman.
Thank you. Look at my name. Gary knows how to get. Who?
Yes. Norm, you're up.
All right. Thanks, Gary. Thom, thank you so much. These guys know I get emotional about these things, especially about Willie. And I agree that your art should be on permanent display at Oracle Park. That is it's magnificent. And I do have one comment and three quick questions. My comment is, you said that you were, your place in time is being between Bobby Thompson and Edmund Hillary. Your place in time is between Bobby Thompson and Willie Mays' catch. Clearly.
Well, yeah, because that was 40.
Well, right, but it's still between.
Yeah, so it's Thompson
and Mays,
and then Mays'
catch was 54. So you're between there. But I got three quick questions. One is, I noticed there was a Herb Cain column in the slideshow, and you mentioned Sports Illustrated covered you later, but did anyone cover you then that day in New York?
No. It was amazing that there was no one there. This was the 50th anniversary of the catch. And I think there was it. It was no one really, and I thought there'd be 100 people out, and there was no one. But I don't think anyone from the paper. This is one of the things when I did Dirty Harry, I didn't tell anyone. When I did Willie Mays, because I don't want people to come out there and try to stop it. So we do a lot of guerrilla installations.
Okay. And then the really quick questions. How heavy are those figures?
Good question.
They're 8x4 plywood. Oh, they're probably 40 pounds.
So that's a lot of work lugging them around.
One guy can move them. It's pretty easy.
Okay. And my
now,
last
when we did Buffalo Bill, when we did Buffalo Bill on the Indians, those were 5x10. And those things, it took two people to move those. Go ahead.
Okay. And the last question is, in the slideshow, there was a 1952 Topps Willie Mays card. Is that a real card? Is that part of your collection?
Thom, did you hear the question?
Yes, that is. Both of them were. Yes.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Norm, those installations.
Yes, about the 52, the baseball card.
Yes.
Those are part of your
You
collection.
bet. You're welcome.
We're having a little problem with your feed. You're going in and out every once in a while. So, Norm, those would look good on your balcony, by the way.
Yes,
Oh
they
yeah,
would.
yeah.
Tom, before I turn it
Who
over,
I am.
when you did your Dirty Harry, you didn't do one of Scorpio, did you?
No, we just did, the iconic where he's standing on that train trestle, and that was just too good. And like I said, the train is gone now,
Right.
which is too bad. But we put it up there while it was the original trestle that he had filmed that scene on.
Wonderful. Judge Jim, you're up.
Thanks, Gary. Tom, I tried to get to as many parks as I could, and I made it up to Seattle this past April. So can you tell
So
me?
am I coming through okay?
I can hear you.
Now you sound good.
Can you tell me again what you did in Seattle? Because I got a picture I'm looking at right now I took of Edgar Martinez, and that kind of they had this display about that, and that I had to share at my Yankee friends. So what did you do there? Is it a painting, a picture, a sculpture? What was it?
I got a feeling he signed out to try to come back in.
Okay.
So I don't see him here.
Yeah, I said he left.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait. If any
I
of
hope nice.
where is Mikey? Mikey, you accompanied him on this journey?
Oh yeah, we can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, actually we shared a house, couple of houses actually in Marin County, and just came up with ridiculous ideas late at night and executed them because we were probably both working kind of part-time just to make the rent. We'd work just to make the rent, and then after that, it was all gravy. But yeah, we worked on Dirty Harry together. I see a Ned Kelly one we did.
All right.
I'm sorry?
I don't think Tom's back
You
in.
got me, Mike? You got
Okay.
me, Mike?
There you go, Tom.
Yeah,
Good.
here I am.
I'm telling them about Leafwood Circle, Tom.
Oh yeah. Is that where we did that? Which one was that? The Ned Kelly?
That was Ned
The
Kelly.
suit of armor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, you had a question, Tom, from Jim about the Seattle, the Safeco Stadium. Jim, you here? Jim, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, I was just wondering what you did in Seattle because I was there this year, and I got a picture I'm looking at of Edgar Martinez in that scene. So did you do a plywood picture or a painting?
Oh, no.
What did you do?
It was based on the photograph of Griffey sliding across the plate. And I can't remember the Yankees catcher. I can't remember his name. He's reaching for the ball, and all the Mariners in the background are running out of the dugout, leaping in the air. And it covered a wall that was 40 feet long and 20 feet high, and they're all steel. So
Okay.
it's been in a couple baseball books.
Yeah, I definitely saw it. It's
I
not.
think I may have sent a photograph.
Yeah. Cool. Very good.
Gary, I sent you a photograph of
Yes, you did, Jim. I will forward that to you.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks again.
But where's Mars? I actually Mars.
You bet.
I don't agree with everything you say, but I will tell you, I think Tom's installation should go where that garden is, out over you count out, wherever the center field fence is, right center. Let's put it out there somewhere. It'd be really
Well,
nice.
yeah, anywhere.
And it doesn't have to be all 5 of the installations. You just the one,
Well,
the epic
That he
one.
mentioned, the
Oh,
two
yeah.
main ones.
I think you are on the same page to some degree with me, Gary. I mean, I think many of us want a last homage, to represent, if it's the World Series trophy, the Giants should go to that last step for Willie Mays.
Ted, did you have a question?
It wasn't
Joanne?
Ted. Yeah, I was thinking that the polo grounds is really so important to the people in the community. Even like he said, people came up and they started talking. So that would be phenomenal, even up there. I mean, God.
Yeah.
And New York's all about art and art outside. So I would say this would be a great place for it. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, the problem is, as great idea as that, I think Thom was kind of turned off that when he did all of these things, people weren't facing it. But if it's a permanent thing, who knows?
Well,
That's the difference. You
Yes.
get more recognition.
Absolutely.
where he showed the diagram of home plate. So was that closer to 158th Street and Willie Mays Way?
No. And Norm will take care of that later, okay?
Okay, good, good.
Harvey, you're up.
I was thinking that you should put those cutouts in center field because they could field just the aura of Willie Mays could make the catch that the present team can't. When were you in New York with those cutouts?
2004.
The 50th anniversary?
Yes. There is an article I sent out from Sports Illustrated. You know, their archives that explains everything that Thom did.
Because I would have been there.
But they went undercover, I think.
Well, by the way, when you talk about quotes about made after the catch,
No, we couldn't hide Willie.
You could, well, after Don Little threw the pitch to Vic Wirtz that Willie tracked down and caught.
Yeah, you got
I
yours.
got my man.
And Leo DeRocha came to take out Don Little and bring in Marv Grissom, I believe, was coming in relief. And Little turned, he handed the ball to Grissom and he said, well, I got my guy.
That's an old story.
Steve, it's a shame that the Historical Society didn't know about it, that you belong to it.
Yeah, I was going to say to Harvey, this wasn't such a widespread thing at the time. And they, unlike Gary, who was on top of everything because he's in the driver's seat, these other guys were, Stuart Lee, this guy, the other guy, whatever, the pizza guy was okay, but it wasn't like it is now. So who knows? It might have been just a quiet thing. You're right, Harvey.
It wouldn't have been a quiet thing. It
evidently was.
If I knew about it, it wouldn't have been quiet at all.
Exactly. And then Gary didn't know about it either. And this was before any of this stuff.
Thank you very much for doing it. And I look forward to seeing it again sometime.
Wonderful. Renee Vargas, you are up.
Thom, this was really special and really great. I'm telling you, I'm listening to this, and I'll be honest with you. I asked Gary, what year did that come up?
Yeah.
I was there when those installations were there. I didn't know you took them down. I went with a bunch of guys to the plaque. We were just there just to hang out. And then from a distance, we saw this. We were like, what? Is that really that? So we walked up as close as we could, not all the way, because, there was some people around. I guess it was you and others. And we just stared at it and we were like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then we went about our business, had no clue until today that it was only there for like a short period of time. Thank you. I saw it. It was awesome looking. And you know what? It should be there where he made the catch. Thank you very much. Wow. What timing.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome.
Anybody else with any questions or comments? Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, just, Harvey's right. And his reasoning is right. Put it in center field. It might help the guys that can't make the catches. Norm might agree or whatever. The club level, and I haven't been there probably 5-6 years, they have a lot of stuff like that there. That would be a place that it could be permanently left, but unfortunately people wouldn't see. A lot of people don't see that because they don't go to the club level. I just have well, all right. Are we still with? Is he still on with us, or is he?
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah.
not? Okay.
He's here?
Norm, any comments on that, or?
Listen, they could take out the Charlie Brown thing and put it right where that is, and it would be perfect.
Right.
The Charlie Brown thing, where is that?
It's on the club level.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Steve just said it, and Harvey. A lot of that's exclusive seats, so the masses that go to the game will not be able to see it. That's what they proposed to do with my photographs, and I said, well, there's not a lot of people that are going to be able to see that. I'd rather have it flashed on the scoreboard,
You know
than
what would be if they're not going to put it someplace. Norm, do they still have the vault?
No, the vault really isn't active right now. The
'Cause
perfect
that would
place
be
for it,
perfect.
the perfect place for it would be where I want to have the Christy Mathewson statue and the Wall of Fame for the New York Giants.
Where's that?
That's at the left field dual gate. There's a
Yeah.
big wall that has almost nothing on it and a space there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right field.
Yeah, those could be screwed to the wall. You're right, Norm.
Can I ask you one more question, Gary?
Sure. No, Harvey, go ahead.
How did you move those around New York City on the day that you were in New York City in Manhattan? I mean, with all the traffic and
Well, we'd rented a van, so we could just slide them in and out. And like I said, we were there probably early morning to early afternoon, and then we went Washington Square, Times Square, Central Park. So we were bouncing around all that day. We were just there for that one day, and we did it all. And they are at a friend of mine's house in Burlington, Vermont, right now, and he puts them out during the summer in September. He'll put them out on his front lawn. They're still up there.
Hey, Tom, I got a feeling if you had a renter's fee, there'd be many people here who would take you up, including one in smiling over there, Norm. So
That'd be a nice field trip.
well, certainly would be. Anybody else have any final thoughts, comments, or anything? Mr. Shea, what a pleasure.
Yo. Hey, everybody. How are you? Hey, Kid Ross.
That one.
Yeah, this is a pleasure to see Tom. I've known since I was a young kid. And as you could tell, he really lacks passion and knowledge and depth and color in his storytelling. I've always told him to pick up his energy. Yeah, just kidding. But oh, by the way, it was Bob Stevens who came up with that line. The only guy in the 59 All-Star game, he wrote for the Chronicle. He said, because I think Mays tripled home Aaron in 59, and Bob Stevens wrote in his game story, he said, Harvey Keene gave it an honest pursuit, but the only center fielder in baseball who could have caught it hit it.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, hey, Tom, I was going to ask you if you could tell the story, because I was always amazed by how you described the Old West morphing into baseball, and how some of those old characters, the outlaws or whatever, turned into ball players. And that's kind of why the game was rough. And also you set lineups for General Custer and Sitting Bull, like baseball lineups. Two things. I hope
I did a
box to this group.
I did a box score for Custer's Last Stand. I have the 7th Cavalry losing 16-1, and everyone says, Tommy, you're too generous. You should have been 44-0. And then I did a box score for the Alamo, which I sent a copy of that to Walter Lord, who had written one of the better books on the Battle of the Alamo. And then we did lineups for Indian chiefs and gunfighters. And we just, you just play around with Mexican revolutionaries like Pancho Villa and Rudolph Fierro, that kind of stuff. So it's a way of playing around. Now, at the Little Bighorn, Company H of the 7th Cavalry was under the command of Major Marcus Reno, and they got pinned down on the hill by the Lakota and Cheyenne, and Company H was their baseball team. and their pitcher got shot in the left shoulder, and that was the end of his baseball career. But Company H was made up of the 7th Cavalry baseball team. So baseball permeates a lot of it. And like I said, it has that Americana, and it reaches out to all these little venues. And there's something about it that I just really enjoy.
By the way, Thom, you are from Sausalito? You were born in Sausalito? Did you say you were? Did you ever have a chance to meet Sterling Hayden? The actor Sterling Hayden?
I saw him many times when I was young. Oh, sure. Yeah. He played Jim Bowie in The Last Command. You know, so he was in an Alamo movie. And the last time I saw him was in about 84, walked along the waterfront. And I think he died in 86. But yeah, he had a big beard and, oh yeah, he was quite a character.
He was anti-Hollywood too.
I want to thank John Shea for, John mentioned Thom's name a few years ago, that he'd be a great guest. And thank goodness I made the call to Thom. So Thom, let me ask you one last question. The big, Custer's Last Stand. Have you ever seen the Twilight Zone episode? The 7th is made up of phantoms.
With Warren Oates.
Yes,
Warren
very
Oates
good.
That was one of his first roles.
Absolutely. Well, you said Major Reno,
sure.
and that really clicked in my head right there. So,
I saw that.
Yeah, we're going to be going. We're going to be at the Little Bighorn next June. I was there for the centennial of The Last Stand, and so next June will be the sesquicentennial will be the 150th anniversary of Custer's Last Stand, and we're all going to be there for that. And they want me to bring my plywood cutouts. I don't know if I have the strength for it, but
this has been
certain moments.
It's been a great time for you coming to visit us. Will give a nice round of applause for Thom Ross.
Did you know Custer's Last Stand turned into Mr. Softy?
Oh boy, here we go. Anyway, want to thank Thom. Thom, please don't be a stranger. John Shea and all his friends, thank you so much for attending. Again, because of the holiday next week, we will meet on Tuesday with Bobby Thompson's daughter. It should be a really interesting evening. I am going to shut off the recording. And if anybody wants to hang around, Norm Coleman is going to show some shots of the Polo Ground areas because everybody keeps saying the wrong thing. So Norm will give the definitive map of where things are. So for those who are leaving, have a great night. Maybe the Giants can finish 500 with a good weekend. Until then, we will see each other next Tuesday. So let me stop the recording.